today with Esteban Plaza-Jennings, the brand manager for Bronco, and hopefully he'll be able to answer a lot of the questions that you guys have had in the forums. All right, so we have been getting a lot of questions about some of the vehicles that we're seeing that are kind of going down the production line that are being produced in the factories up in Michigan. So if you want to speak a little bit to that, kind of tell us what those vehicles are, what they're used for, and how that kind of plays into production in the future.
So the vehicles that you guys have been seeing on Bronco Nation are pre-production units, and we produce a number of pre-production units as we ramp up to full production, and we use those vehicles to test out the assembly process, all the tools that are used to actually assemble the vehicles and make the parts for the vehicle. All those get tested. A number of the vehicles get crash tested as well. Some get used to certify fuel economy. So there's a number of uses that these pre-production vehicles get used for.
Yeah, that's what we thought, but we wanted to get that information out there so that people know that. Beyond that, there's been a lot of buzz the past few days about some of the build and price updates that we're expecting and that we have seen over the past week or so. Is this the build and price update that was talked about in prior Bronco Nation articles, as well as the Ford Horizons Q&A, or is it something else?
No, this is not the build and price update that has been mentioned previously. The update will go live in March. The update you're seeing right now reflects updates to some pricing errors that were in the preliminary build and price that we launched back in September. So we're just correcting some of the errors that were part of that launch. The update that's coming in March will preliminarily include additional dealer channel accessories. So we're going to bump up a bunch of the accessories down at kind of the last section of build and price. There'll be a couple of other minor changes that come in as well. We're hoping to get the new first edition interior that we announced earlier. We're trying to get that into build and price in January. And there are a couple other kind of small issues. I know the roofs, for example, came in as part of this change. So I know we'll probably want to talk more about that later, but we're cleaning up some small issues there on the roofs as well.
Gotcha. I know we're all excited for some of those accessories and additions that we're going to see a little bit later on. But I guess to summarize, what's the goal of this build and price update?
Right. So the goal, as I mentioned, was to clean up some of the pricing errors that were part of the preliminary build and price. And, we apologize that it took so long to get those up. The build and price tool for Bronco, given all the options and configurations, is pretty complicated. So it did take a little bit for those to trickle through the system. But the main purpose was to correct some of those pricing errors and clean that up.
And do we know when the final price list that includes all the options and accessories for launch will be made available for reservation holders?
So the 21 model year price list will be provided to dealers in January before the order banks open, and the order banks are going to be opening in mid-January, so when you can start converting your reservations to order. And at that point, dealers will have the full price lists, and all the pricing will be reflected on build and price as well at that point.
Awesome. So only a few weeks away now at this point.
Yep.
And I guess moving kind of on, we've had a lot of questions regarding the BMP updates around Sasquatch package pricing, as well as the mid-package pricing, and then the 10-speed automatic transmission pricing. I think some people seem to be caught a little off guard by that. What changed in build and price that set off this, wave of price increases?
Right. So first of all, I want to apologize to our customers. I know that everyone's anxious to finalize their orders and know how much their dream Bronco is going to cost. So apologies that this might have caught folks off guard. We didn't increase any options in terms of if you're getting a 2.7 liter engine, that pricing remains the same. What we did correct was in build and price, there were a few errors in terms of other options that were tied with options you were selecting. So in the example of the 2.7, it was pricing for the 2.7 liter engine at $18,950, but the preliminary build-in price that we launched was not also adding the pricing for the 10-speed automatic that you have to get with the 2.7. So it was missing that additional $15,950 for the transmission. And so that's what we corrected with the latest round of updates and build-in price, was making sure that, we tied the additional option pricing in. And I know it probably caught some people off guard, but the pricing structure for Howard, in particular with the step-up 2.7 liter engine, is the same way we price on other vehicles like Mustang, right? So if you upgrade to the 5.0 and you upgrade to their automatic transmission, you get charged for the engine and the transmission. So it's consistent with the rest of the Ford showroom. And we can talk more about Sasquatch if you want. I know that was another item that we changed some of the preliminary pricing on.
So we've also had some questions on Sasquatch package and some of the pricing associated with adding that to each of the different trim levels, particularly on the 2-door base and then the 2 and 4-door Big Bend. We see that when we add Sasquatch, I think it comes out to like an $8,900 number, which is a little bit higher than expected when we actually net those components together. So can you talk a little bit more about that and some of the build and price updates that we've seen?
So that's a good catch on the $8,980 number. It is overstated right now. It's overstated by $1,595 because it's actually double counting the automatic transmission in there right now. We are working to fix that as we speak. I've been on lots of calls about it, and that should be fixed before the holidays. So apologies for the inaccurate update there. I can maybe give a little more context on Sasquatch and why the pricing has changed versus the preliminary build-in price that we launched in September. So on a base 2-door or on a Big Bend 2-door or 4-door, you're adding a number of components to the vehicle beyond just the Sasquatch package. So you're adding the automatic transmission, which I mentioned is $1,595. You're adding the advanced 4x4 system, so a different transfer case. That's a $795 option. And then you're adding the Sasquatch package and its constituent components, so things like the front rear locking differential, the upgraded suspension, the larger tires, upgraded wheels. That's a $4,995 option. So when you add all those things together, you get a total price increase of $7,385 for Sasquatch on the 2-door base and 2 and 4-door Big Bend series. Maybe a little more detail on Sasquatch. We adjust the pricing on Sasquatch depending on what series vehicle you have and what the standard content is on the vehicle. So for example, on Badlands, the Sasquatch package only costs $2,495. And that price is significantly lower versus the $4,995 because Badlands already has, front and rear locking differential. It has a lot of suspension components associated with it. It comes standard with the advanced 4x4 system. So we're adjusting the pricing accordingly based on the series, and then the other pieces that come along with Sasquatch, like the forced automatic, which as we've announced, that won't necessarily be the case in 22 model year. We're gonna have the manual Sasquatch, so we're changing that based on customer feedback. But apologies again for some of the inaccurate pricing from the preliminary build-in price and also on these updated revisions.
Mm-hmm. Thanks for clarifying those points.
If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and subscribe for more interesting videos.